I'll be opening up my result now. I was like, God, am I to go back to Nigeria? Some of the things I will tell you would utterly shock you, and the story will just go from bad to worse. I did this, guys. This video may come as a surprise to a lot of people because I have masked my pain for too long. And if someone had told me that I would be seated here today making this kind of video, I would not believe. However, here I am. So today I would show you how I moved from being this girl to being this girl. I would not usually post my private moments online. However, this video is absolutely necessary because I have been getting a lot of messages from people asking me why I stopped creating social work content. Now, backtrack in case you are just a new subscriber. As at 2 years ago, I was actively creating social work content on this channel and I gathered some subscribers, and suddenly I stopped creating such content. So it was normal for me to be getting those messages. So after this video, you would find your answer to why I stopped. I have no idea how this video would go. I would just be sharing my horror story. Thankfully, when I was going through the situation, one of my closest friends actually told me to vlog all the experiences, and it did not make any sense to me because prior to that time I did not understand why someone would go on camera and be crying. But my friend told me, just vlog, like just make videos. And now I'm grateful I listened to her advice because this is something that spanned a lot of months. So let me start. My name is Adaeze Osadebe and I came into the UK in 2022 to study social work. And for those that don't know about social work, it's 2 years masters, and for each year you would have half the time in lectures, then the other half you would spend it on placement. So placement is like internship, it's just that it is unpaid. You would not be paid a dime for being on placement, so you would work for some months and you would not be paid anything. So my first placement happened and it was the best experience. Like, the experience was amazing. Not just amazing, I was even retained there to work permanently. Something I noticed in my first year of social work was that all my course-mates, to make it clear, all my black course-mates had issues on placement. Unless maybe 1 or 2 people, the rest had issues on placement. And what were those issues? They would go on placement and be treated differently from their white counterparts. And at first, we were given excuses that, oh, because we are in a white-dominated place, so it is highly likely that this would happen. However, it just kept happening. A lot of us started reconsidering why we were even on the course, because a lot of them experienced racism. Let me just say it as it is. I remember telling one of my colleagues that I feel somehow even creating content about social work and even my school, because my classmates are experiencing these things. So I felt like it was not really fair on them to be creating content because I had amazing experiences. I did not know that my turn was coming, and I mean it in the most negative way. Some of the things I will tell you would utterly shock you, and the story will just go from bad to worse. So hold on. I started my placement in April 2023, and the first week of placement, it seemed nice. My PE, let's call her D because she turned out to be a devil. So that first week of placement, oh, she was all nice, everybody was nice, and I was really happy, excited. After the first week, it just felt like their true color started coming out. Let me state it quite clearly that in that team, I was the only black person. Not just in that team, in the whole organization. Let me not even say that team. In the whole organization, in the whole building, I was the only black person. And I'm not the type of person that would see me being black as an issue or see it as people want to be racist to me. No, I'm not that kind of person at all. I do not care. But I noticed that in that team, they were very weird. It was very cliquey. Like, I would go to work and I would greet people and only one person would answer me. And it just felt very strange because in my first placement, it was nice, and I was the only black person there. I never for one day felt uncomfortable or anything. But in this new team, I felt so uncomfortable. And sometimes they were having conversations, and it just felt like they were having conversation amongst themselves. It just felt like I was excluded. And I'm not going to go into a lot of details because there are more important details going forward. And I told myself, you know what, just go there, go to work, just go there and go back home. Don't even stress, because these people, they are not it at all. So I was going to my placement, supporting the client, and everything was going well. Then one day I went to placement and we were required to support a particular client. I will not give details about names or other identifiable information for a reason. I will tell you that reason at the end of the video. So we went to support this client, and this client was not a British person. Let's introduce another character. We'll call her S because she acted like Satan. By the way, PE stands for practice educator. So your PE is someone that is in charge of your affairs as a student social worker. So don't forget, D is my practice educator. Now S is a manager. In that team, there is a manager S, then my practice educator D. When we went to support that client, S was there, D was there, and one other student. We will not even dignify her with a name. Let's just leave her like that. So after supporting the client, S, the manager, started talking, and she was saying things like, this person, I'm very sure he has no recourse to public funds because he's an immigrant. And that's the issue with all these immigrants. They keep coming here to put a strain on the system. They come in here, they have no recourse to public funds, and at the end of the day, these immigrants would increase homelessness, they would increase crime rate, they will increase poverty rate, because they will come here, they'll have no place to sleep, they will be on the street, they will start committing crime. Immediately she said that, I did not believe, like, even now, saying it, like the way I'm saying it, it even sounds unbelievable, even to my own ears. Because I felt, no, I could have heard wrongly. No, I don't think she said it. You know how someone will be gaslighting themselves? That's how I was gaslighting myself. I said, no. She could not have said that, because first of all, that is an obviously racist statement. And not just that, I am an immigrant. You are saying it clearly that immigration increases homelessness, increases poverty rate, increases crime rate. At that point, I did not even know what was happening. And I remember telling her, sorry, S, what did you just say? And this woman repeated it. So I knew, okay, my ears are working. She actually said it. I knew that they were weird people, because the way they were acting towards me was very weird. I found it very difficult to gather my thoughts. Even now that I'm recounting it, it's still shocking to me. And I told her, why would you say such a thing? And she said, oh yes, it's not a lie, like it's facts. Don't I read the news? I'm like, wow. And the other person, the other student that I would not even dignify with a name, said, oh yes, that don't you read the news, that it's there, it's all over the news. Now, I need to state it very clearly that this S is not just a manager of a team. She's a manager of a team in the NHS. And this organization is the biggest organization here. And this person manages a team. And she said that, first of all, you're talking about homelessness. We go on the streets because the job that we did involved me supporting vulnerable people. And guess what? All our clients, all are white British. All. And these are the vulnerable people on the streets. And I said, all the people we support are actually white British. So if we are talking about nationalities, you want to be talking about things like this, that is not a correct thing to say. Because even if you're looking at facts, that is very incorrect to say. And let me state it clearly that when this was ongoing, D, the PE, was not present. She went to do something. So D came back from where she went to, and guess what? Immediately D came. S just told her, D, you won't believe what Ada said. Ada said British people are the ones that are homeless. And I'm like, no, that was not what I said. Immediately I said, that's not what I said. You said immigrants keep coming to this country to increase homelessness, to increase all that. And I said that is not true, because even if we are looking at the facts like you opine, the facts state that even our clients are not even immigrants. At least this is even the first immigrant that we are working with. Immediately, she said nothing at that point. Then we went into the car and she just kept saying the same thing. She kept repeating that statement. Immigrants keep causing homelessness. Immigrants increase the crime rate. She just kept repeating it. And at that point, it just felt like she wanted me to say something. Bear in mind, it was at the end of this story, I started asking myself, why did I not even record all these things? But obviously, recording people without their permission is illegal. So I most likely would not have recorded it. I think for my own sanity, because after it happened, I still kept asking myself, did this just happen? So in the car, she kept mentioning the same statement. And I just knew at that point, she wanted to drag me to act out of character. And I said nothing. We got back to the office and this woman was still talking. I didn't even say a word anymore. I went back to work. I didn't say anything. I just continued with work. Then that day, coincidentally, was supervision with my practice educator, so D. And remember I said she was not there when everything happened. She was only there at the end. So I explained to her what happened. And she was like, oh my God, Ada, I am so sorry. No, S should have never said something like that. That is a very offensive statement. Oh my God, Ada, I am sorry. And she was like, do you want to report this? And I didn't even think it was that deep to report. Like, report why? Like, why? I didn't even think about reporting it, because at that point, it just felt like, why did she say that? That was offensive. And it was not right. And for me, for her to just acknowledge that what she said was racist and she should never have even said that was enough for me. So I told her, no, I don't want to report. Like, no, I just want to finish my placement. That's my priority. I'm not thinking of reporting. Like, that's not my problem. And she said, okay, no problem. Don't worry, no problem. That's fine. And I went home. And I remember I felt so uncomfortable in my own skin. Like, for the fact that the manager S could have these opinions about immigrants, and I am an immigrant working with her, working under her. It was not making sense. No wonder I was always being excluded from a lot of conversations. And I remember calling one of my friends and I was just telling her everything. And she was like, wow, that is racism. And I'm like, no, let's not call it that. Let's just maybe I was still making excuses for these people. But that thing really affected me. Affected me so much that I was having a meeting with my boss. By the way, I have a boss because I was on placement working Mondays to Fridays for free. But Saturdays and Sundays, I had like a part-time job where I was doing my 20 hours. So I had a boss. And coincidentally, I had a meeting with my boss about something related to work. And she saw me, she was like, are you okay? You don't look okay. And I said, I'm okay. She kept probing. So I told her what happened. And she was like, oh my God, that is racism. And by the way, my boss is a white woman. Then she asked for the name of the manager S. I didn't give her name because I did not want to report. And my boss said, okay, you know what? Whatever you want to do, that's fine. So I was not on placement for close to 4 days. That period fell under a bank holiday. My PE also had like some training days. So I did not work for like 3 or 4 days. Then I went back to work. Now this is where the story gets interesting. I remember that day going there and these people were very different. These are people that I would greet, no one would answer me. They were so nice. I'm like, okay. Then immediately the PED called me and she said, let's have a meeting. She said she had talked to S, the manager, and she does not want to go into a case of he said, she said. But one thing she would tell me is, from the conversation with the manager said that, oh, I misunderstood what she said. That's not what she said. She still stands on what she said. And I was confused. I was like, you say I misunderstood what you said. So what are you standing on? So D was like, S, I said it clearly that I can do whatever I want and I can take it to the highest authority. She does not care because she stands on what she said. I still did not process that something was going on. Like I was in a crisis, I was in battle, I was in a storm. I did not still process it because I did not even, I'm like, where is this coming from? It was not that deep to me. And I just said, no problem. If she said I misunderstood her, then I would love for us to talk about it because I know that I heard that correctly. Then D called her. So it was D, the PE, S, the manager, and I. She was like, oh, Ada, how are you? Hope you're good. With that fake voice. So I told her, oh, I just finished speaking to D. It's been brought to my attention that there was a misunderstanding and that's just what I want to correct. And she said it clearly that, see, Ada, I love immigrants. Ada, let me act the way she acted. I love immigrants. I help immigrants. So I could never have said anything like that. You misunderstood me. However, I stand by what I said and you can report to anyone you want to report to. This thing was not making sense to me. Like, are you saying you said it or you not say it? Like, pick one. And she said, see, Ada, I apologize because at first she was trying to act, you misunderstood me. You misunderstood me. And one thing I'm very grateful to God for that I have is a calm spirit. Like, I don't allow people take me out of character. And that is a very strong trait I have. Because I remember when she was repeating those statements when it happened, she wanted to take me out of character. So I would act anyhow. And they would now say, okay, you were unprofessional. But I didn't. So even when she was trying to down gaslight me, saying things like, you misunderstood me. And in fact, the way she was speaking to me in a very patronizing manner, Ada, I didn't say that. Ada, you misunderstood me. Maybe you heard me incorrectly. And I told her very calmly, and that's why I'm happy, because I didn't even raise my voice. It's even now that I'm talking about it that I'm all charged up. I didn't raise my voice. I still used the same tone she used. I was like, I did not misunderstand you. You said it. I was still smiling. You said it that immigrants cause homelessness. You said those words. You said that they increase poverty, they increase crime rate. You said those words, S. And when she knew that she could not get me to act irrationally, and I was still smiling, being calm, but still telling her, you said those words. Then she said, okay, you know what, Ada, I apologize if that statement offended you. However, I stand by what I said and you can report to anyone you want. And I told her, okay, that's fine. You just said you apologize if the statement offends me, but you stand by what you said. Then at that point, this woman tried to flip the script on me. She now said, Ada, you know what? I am even offended. I found it offensive that you said it that there are British people that are vulnerable. At that point, I'm like, you want to use reverse psychology. You want to use reverse racism on me. You are being called out for the racist statements you made. You now want to flip the script on me and act like, oh, me, I was the one that was racist. Like, how does the math is not mathing? And at that point, D, the devil, now said, oh, Ada, actually, S could not have meant those words. You must have misunderstood her because S has helped a lot of immigrants. Immediately she was talking, I said, but what you are trying to say now does not hold water, because it's just like when a person is accused of being offensive and you're trying to say, oh, but I have black friends, so I cannot be racist. Or I told her, it doesn't work that way. And in fact, I find it uncomfortable that you've brought this meeting for this misunderstanding to be cleared and you are indirectly trying to be on the side of S. Then when I said that, S interjected and said, you know what? I don't think we have the same values anymore, so I don't feel comfortable with you being on our team. I'm like, sorry, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Are you trying to say I should leave the team? Now, bear in mind that this was my 50th day on placement. So my placement, that placement was for 100 days. So I had done 50 days on placement. I told her, I drew your attention to a statement you made, and what you're trying to do right now is to use reverse racism on me. You're trying to gaslight me, and you're trying to act like the victim. And I said all these, still maintaining a straight face, still maintaining a very level-headed tone. And immediately I said that, she just walked out. She was like, I can't do this anymore. She just walked out. And that's because when the meeting started, she thought I would flare up. I genuinely feel she wanted to paint that angry black woman picture. But instead, I was so calm, I was so rational, and I was calling out her BS straight up. So she walked out. Then it was now left with me and D. And I told D, I don't understand. What's the meaning of what S said, that we no longer share the same values? Like, what does that mean? D told me, don't worry, there's no problem, don't worry. You know what? There's a lot of tension today, so just go home. Tomorrow is another day, we'll continue this conversation. And so I went home. But I remember feeling so uncomfortable, like in my spirit, I was so disturbed. I called one of my friends. I said, none of that. Something feels so strange. Like, this is what happened. And Nana was like, what the hell? What is going on? Now, I was on the call with Nanda. I was walking home because from my placement in my house is like 15 minutes. I was on the call with Nanda. So Nanda just told me, you know what, Ada? I think you should notify school about what is going on. And do you know that at that point, I still did not understand what was happening. I was like, notify school. For what? Nanda said, just trust me. Nanda has been here for a lot of years and she's experienced a lot of racism. And she said, just do what I said. Go and call school and tell them what's happened. And I said, okay. If you say I should, I would. And that's what I plan on doing. As soon as I ended the call with Nanda, immediately I got a call from the organization. Remember I said the organization is like the biggest organization in this place? And I got a call from the organization and they told me, hi Ada, I'm just calling to tell you that your placement has been paused. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, from where to where? This was that same day, like 15 minutes after, as soon as I got home, they said my placement has been paused. I said, what is paused? Like, because I've never heard anything about someone's placement being paused. All I know about is maybe someone being dismissed from placement on grounds of misconduct. And obviously, I'm like, I did not do any misconduct, so how come my placement has been paused? I'm like, no, I don't understand. And she was like, yeah, we've already told the school. I was asking myself, when did I left this environment like 15 minutes ago. When do you tell school? I called Nanda again. I told her, even she could not even believe it. She was like, you know what? Just send a mail right now. Send a comprehensive mail to school. I sent a mail to school. I didn't get a response from school. Let me just state it clearly. From the 28th of June 2023 till the 1st of December 2023, there was no day that I did not cry to sleep. No day. And I would explain everything that happened from that time. The person that called me told me that obviously I have the right to make like an official report about what happened. Remember that I had been saying it clearly. I don't want to report because I'm not reporting. I had even told my boss because she wanted to know the name of S, the manager. And I'm like, no, don't worry. And I had no plans of reporting. But when they say my placement has been paused, I said, okay, now, you know what? I'll be making an official report about racism. And that was when I expressly reported. I had 5 requests. The first is there should be an education or training that should be made to everybody in that team, because obviously they have no knowledge about equality, no knowledge. And these are people that will claim, we believe in Equality Act. These are, let me state it clearly, that these people are professionals, mental health professionals, are occupying high positions. And if people like that can behave in this way, then obviously they all need an education and an apology from S for the racist comments she made. I asked for a continuation of the remaining 49 days on placement, then any disciplinary action that they didn't fit, and that was it. I did not get any response about the statement. Okay, I got an acknowledgement that they received my email, but that was it. It was just crickets, nothing. And that's how my mates were on placement, and me, I was at home. And not just at home that I knew that I was continuing placement, I was at home with no assurances, nothing. I was at home every single day. In fact, the way my mental health dipped, because even there was nothing to guide about pausing placement. I was having series of beatings with the school because this was a novelty to the school. They've experienced lots of complaints about racism, but they've not experienced anything like post-placement, and they didn't even know how to handle it because that never happened. And every day I'll be having meetings, either at the school, with the student union, with the student well-being support. My God, when I see my mental health nosedived, when I'm going through difficulties, it's difficult for me to communicate such difficulties. And some of my friends will be watching this for the first time because I just did not want to bother anyone with my problems, and every single day I was just crying. But the people that already knew about it, they were just very supportive. I'll talk about that at the end of this video. And thankfully my therapist was also there, just guiding me, supporting me, because I was having a lot of anxiety. I would not sleep. I would sleep, I can't, you know, when you're not doing anything. At that point I was like, what am I doing? Because my student visa is hinged on my studies. So if I don't graduate, I can't even get post-study visa. I can't get anything. I was like, God, am I to go back to Nigeria? What am I meant to do? And I was in that fix for close to 2-3 months. Can you imagine? When my mates were finishing placement and saying they are graduating. In fact, I was in class for my last day of class, but sincerely I knew that at that point I didn't even know that I would ever graduate. The organization reached out to me to tell me that you are never going back to that placement because they want to protect both parties. And I was asking them, what do you mean you want to protect both parties? I am the one being affected here. It is my education in line. I kept educating them that I am an international student, because these people, they had no empathy, no knowledge. Because how can you tell an international student that your placement has been paused? Do you realize that my visa is hinged on these studies? Because they had no, they're so privileged, they have no understanding of the challenges of an international student. They have no understanding that I paid £29,800 to study in this school. Because social work is £14,900 for 1 year. I am doing 2 years course and I am self-sponsoring. These people had no idea, and this is minus accommodation fee. So imagine being told to go back to Nigeria. I have not even achieved anything. They reached out to me later to tell me that, okay, there is another placement team within the organization, another team, and I could go there. And at that point I was already feeling like I was saying, no, I must go back to that first placement because that is my placement. I felt like you can't rob me of my placement. And they were like, no, you are never going back there. And I remember talking to my friends, IJ and Nanda. They were very supportive, and they were telling me, just don't go back to that team. So the main organization told me, okay, we have another team that you can come on placement with. But at that point I just felt, if I'm not going back to that placement, then I don't want to even go back to the organization, because you all are obviously very racist. But I didn't say that to them. I'm like, this is what I was thinking about, and I'm like, no, I'm not going back there. So I started looking for other placements, other places. I kept reaching out to people, please, if you have any placement anywhere, even if it's London, I will go. I will go. I don't mind squatting. I will just go. And no one could offer me that help because there was always an issue. It's either issue of not driving or issue of distance. There was just an issue, and because of the time frame, I had such a limited time, this could not work. Oh my god, I've postponed making this video for so long because I did not want to feel emotional when I'm making a video, and now I'm already feeling so anxious already. Like, I'm already feeling so emotional, but I need to calm down because I don't want to cry on camera. Like, I already have a lot of clips where I cried, like a lot of clips where I cried, so I don't want to do that. So I didn't get any placement. The only placement available was in a team. Remember, it's still that main organization but another team. Time kept going, and at that point I just like had no choice but to go back there. It's another team but the same organization. I didn't want to go back there. I kept telling school I don't want to go back there, I don't want to go back there, but there was no option. Like, the only option is you failed. I told school I can't go back, and they said, okay, you know what, we would employ an external PE, so you would not have anybody there overseeing your affairs. It's going to be an external person, and we would talk to the external person and tell this person all your experiences so they support you well. And when school introduced that option, it made me feel very comfortable. It made me feel safer. So I'm not going to give this PE an initial because this PE was not racist to me in any way. I agreed, only for the manager of that team. You thought you've met D, devil, we've met S, Satan. Now let's meet W, which I've accepted to be on the placement. When I was to resume, she said no. She cancelled it. She said no, she's no longer accepting me. How can you accept me and unaccept me? Like, how does this work? And she said she's not accepting me because D, my former practice educator, has refused to sign off some of the things I did. And let me explain. There are some things you are supposed to do, like you're going to work with clients, and there are some documents that you are supposed to get signed off to show that you are doing the work. Now, for half of that placement, I did the work, and D refused to sign off anything. I forgot to mention something. After the placement broke down and everything, and I was told you are never going back there, D requested for us to see. She knows I'm never coming back there. She just wants us to be in good terms. I'm like, you are looking for, what are you looking for? You think I'm looking for closure? Like, what do you think this is? You think this is a family and friends group meeting? You people were racist to me. You kicked me out of placement. Like, there was nothing, no fair hearing, nothing. You literally kicked me out of placement, and you want us to sit down and gist. In which world does this happen? Obviously, she was angry that I did not want to meet up for the family and friends because I don't understand. And it was later on I realized that as a PE, she needed to be in a good relationship with her students. So she wanted to just feel good. Like, you want to use me. You've treated me like trash. You threw me, you kicked me off placement. And you want me to be doing with you. As what? My visa is on the line. I'm like, what are these people smoking? And this woman refused to sign off all the work I did. The new manager, W, that should have no business with me, said she's not allowing me in her team because nothing has been signed off. I was wondering, you know about what has happened. Like, this is your organization. This woman has refused to sign off. So at that point, I was rejected off placement. I'm stressed talking about it already. Finally, these people accepted me back. Like, you rejected me, and after they now say, okay, you know what, we accept you on the grounds that you will start placement from number 1. I'm like, I have already done 50 days or 51 days of placement. How can you tell me I will start from day 0? How? Like, in what dictionary? Where is that done? Where? Because number 1, remember, this hinges on my visa. I have student visa to be in the UK for a particular period of time. So what you're trying to tell me is that I would have to extend my student visa. Remember, I have been in the UK for 2 years. So I'm doing how many years in the UK? Because I'm doing what? Because of what? Master's degree. So I told her, no, I can't start from day 1, no, day 0. I will do another 50 days on placement, and that's a wrap. Long story short, she finally agreed. Now remember that I was going back to this team on the condition that my new PE is the one in charge of my affairs. So I have no business with any person. Or so I thought. Only for my placement to start. When the placement started, I was at that point, my anxiety had skyrocketed. Like, I'll just be sleeping and be crying. And I've experienced pain before, but this was a different level of pain. I was not the one crying. My spirit was crying. I can't explain it. I will sleep, I will wake up, and my pillow is soaked with my tears. And during the day, I will try to distract myself. I will still do YouTube. I will still be laughing. Like, I'll still do YouTube. I will still do everything that I usually would do. I will still call my friends that they don't know about this and act like everything is okay. And I went on this placement, and guess what? The first day of placement, first day of going back to this placement, this woman told me, oh her, it is impossible for you to pass this placement. At that point, I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? Like, it's the fact that someone has the audacity to tell me to my face that it's impossible to pass the placement. Immediately she said that, because as I now became more careful, like more proactive. I just told my PE immediately that, see what I've been told though. I told university, like I kept updating the university of every single thing. Why is this woman telling me this? But you know what? These people did not take me seriously. I firmly feel like the university did not fully comprehend what I was going through, because no one was listening to my concerns, or rather they were listening to my concerns, or no, they were hearing my concerns but doing nothing about it. Like, it felt like people were waiting for things to get so bad because they could not believe that it would get so bad. Like, it just did not make any sense. Like, this does not make any sense to me, but that's what was happening. And immediately she said that first day, I was like, oh wow, you are in for another thing. Like,